I'm Ashton Addison from Blockwest Capital for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews with Matt Gould, the founder and CEO of Unstoppable Domains. Matt, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking the time to come on today.
Thanks, Ashton. Happy to be here.
I'm excited to dive into the world of decentralized domain name services, bringing the power of internet and websites back to the people where it belongs. I would love for you to kick off the conversation by talking a little bit about Unstoppable Domains, what your platform is solely focused on, and how you got to this point.
Great. Yeah. Well, at Unstoppable Domains, we create NFT domain names. And this is NFTs, just like all the NFT hype you've been hearing this year. And these are blockchain systems for domain registrations. And we think this is a huge step forward. The current domain system is very centralized. A lot of people don't know this, but .com, for instance, is actually owned by a company called VeriSign. And all those registrations go through their process. And you don't really have a lot of control over your own domain name. And the genesis of this company was actually to make it a lot easier for people to send and receive cryptocurrency to each other. And it may be not obvious, but once you buy your first Bitcoin or your first Ethereum or your first whatever cryptocurrency, and you try to send it, you're going to be hit with this really long hex address. It looks like a bank number. And we thought when we started the company 4 years ago, that was a terrible user system. Wouldn't it be great if we created a naming service so that the first time you ever go to send a crypto payment, you're not afraid and you don't have that anxiety when you do that? And so that's what we started out with. So we built these naming systems on different smart contract blockchains, and it allows you to make a mapping between all of your cryptocurrency addresses. So if you have a lot of different cryptocurrency, you can map them all back to a single domain. So for instance, I have matt.crypto. If you want to send me some cryptocurrency, you can type matt.crypto into a wallet that supports Unstoppable Domains. And that way it's so much easier for you to tell people verbally or in a short text message how to send crypto from one person to another. So that was the beginning. And then this has evolved to a full naming service that we think is going to ultimately compete with the likes of .com for a lot of reasons that we can get into on the call.
Amazing, Matt. And yeah, you know what? I was following Unstoppable since the beginning, and that function with the wallet address is incredible. To have multiple different blockchains being able to map to an address and just being like, yeah, it's ashton.crypto, and you can send Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever it is. That I think is a huge step in getting people into cryptocurrency that are scared of the technical details and wallets and hexadecimal addresses. And it shouldn't have hexadecimal addresses anyway, because people try to type them and they type them wrong or something goes wrong. So I really do love that function as well, but I know that the bread and butter is the decentralized domains as well, and I have been using the platform myself. I would love for you to just talk a little bit more about the ease of use of getting your own domain, getting your own website, and not having it be controlled by .com or any of the other top level domains. And I know that you do have a variety of top level domains as well.
Yeah, so we offer a lot of different extensions. We have everything from .bitcoin to .nft to .crypto to .x. There's about 10 different extensions that users can choose from. And we did focus in originally on that first use case, which is there's no way that 3 billion people on the planet are going to be using cryptocurrency if they have to send and receive that cryptocurrency to these complex hex addresses. So beyond just being easier for people, we actually think it's a requirement for adoption for people to actually use this. And there's a couple of insights that come from that. You know, the first is that these domain systems are going to be a lot bigger than the traditional domain systems, because we're talking about a system in which every person who has a crypto wallet, which is going to end up being all 3 billion people with an internet connection on the planet, is going to need to have one of these domains for sending and receiving cryptocurrency. And then you also realize that every single person, this is likely going to be their first NFT. And we actually think that this should be a part of the wallet onboarding experience. So if you look at this past couple of months, we've announced several really large partnerships. We had the Wallet Alliance with over 30 different wallets that have joined in to resolve Unstoppable Domains. We also have a announcement with blockchain.com, where we're going to be, as part of the onboarding experience, ensuring that every new user to their wallet, and they're the largest self-custody wallet on the planet, is going to end up getting one of these Unstoppable Domains. Why? It's because people in the industry, when you ask them, what are the big problems in crypto? On the top 3 list is going to be UX. Like, it's going to be the top 3. If you get any 10 people together in a room talking about crypto, UX is going to be up there. You know, fiat onboarding is another one. There's probably a couple other areas, but UX is going to be one of those top 3 problems, and that's what blockchain domains help us solve. What happened is once we realized that we were going to get a blockchain domain name into every person's wallet, we started thinking to ourselves, what else can you do? Because these are actually self-custody domains. Like, you own them in your wallet. They're your NFT. You control them. You're the one who sets them up. You determine what address they point to. You determine what website it points to if you have a website. You determine what information you attach back to it. And when we started thinking critically about what that meant, we said, hey, you know what? This is more than just a domain like people are used to thinking about it. This is a domain with superpowers that can actually end up being your digital identity on the internet. If you take a look at all these social platforms, you'll have a username on Twitter, you'll have a username on Reddit, you'll have a username on Instagram and TikTok. And with these blockchain domain systems, you could actually log into all those other different applications while keeping the same name across those apps. And that's kind of this SSO login identity product that we think that NFT domains are going to move towards over the next 3 to 5 years, and we're really excited about that. So something that started out very simple, this is usually how it happens with good ideas, is you start out trying to solve a specific use case, and you're like, we need to make it easier for all 3 billion people on the planet to send and receive crypto, has now evolved into, we really think that this is going to be the first NFT that people own, and that this could potentially function as a form of digital identity for the 1 billion plus people on the planet who don't have the ability to prove who they are, or send and receive money, or publish information that they think is important.
Definitely, and that's a great point, Matt. I love how you bring that up, that it's really more than just a domain and a wallet and the digital identity itself. So many people use that function of, log into this website through Facebook or through Google, and people that have used that, I know people that have used that for the convenience to have a single identity, but in that case, their Facebook account was deleted, and then all of those accounts they've lost access to because they didn't actually own their own identity on Facebook, which is horrible to lose all of your accounts. And with it, your own digital identity that you actually have ownership of through the NFT, obviously that's not going to be a problem. And I'm curious to hear a little bit more about the NFTs, because I know that you were working on Unstoppable Domains before NFTs really exploded. They were around, but did you see that at the beginning, that it was going to be an NFT and it was going to be a wallet, a domain, identity, and even more? And how has that shifted now that NFTs are really moving into the mainstream with profile pictures and other NFT functionality?
Yeah, so we have continued to evolve the product and the functionality as the industry has evolved. And we've been working on this since 2017, like you were saying. That was right when NFTs were first invented. And actually, Ryan from our team was one of the developers who actually worked on making the very first domain name that was an NFT. And that was part of a hackathon that he participated in. And then all our domain name systems from the beginning have been constructed to be NFTs. So we were there at the very genesis, and it was actually called ERC 721 tokens back then. That's the technical standard. And so, now everyone refers to them as NFT domains, and it seems so obvious, but at the time it wasn't really that straightforward. And here we are. And if you had asked me 4 years ago, what was going to be the thing to take crypto mainstream, I would not have picked art. And I will be completely open with that. Like, there's no way I would not have guessed art. It just would not have been the first thing on the tip of my tongue. And that's really been incredible this year to see people adopting these PFP profile pictures. And we recently added support so that you can verify your board, or CryptoPunk, or what have you, back to your blockchain domain name. And then that picture will show up on your domain as well. And this is what we're talking about constructing identity from the bottom up. And what we've learned is that if you have a name on the internet, and like that's what people are going to use to look you up and find information about you, that you can then attach all sorts of information to that name. And that can be everything from your Bored Ape, if you have one, or some other PFP project. You can attach your Twitter profile. We actually worked with Chainlink, which is another company in the ecosystem, to verify Twitter profiles back to domain names. We see a future where we can verify all of your social profiles, your Reddit, your Instagram, what have you, to your domain. And the reason why we want to do that is if you're sending a payment to somebody, it would be great if you could see, maybe their picture or a link off to their Twitter profile, so that you can feel more confident about sending money to somebody. If I send money on like my PayPal app or on Venmo or something, I can look up a little bit of information about that person to get more comfort around sending those payments. So it's all back to UX for users. How can we make this a lot easier experience for people to send and receive cryptocurrency, to get involved in Web3, to own their first NFT, and then also to have control about what data they want to share about themselves. So there's a lot to dig into on all these different places, but at a high level, if you just think about it, you spend about 50% of your time staring at your screen or at your phone, and you probably need to have a ID on the internet, so that you can start providing more information about yourself and getting paid for that information online.
I completely agree, Matt. And you were mentioning the partnerships earlier. I think that's a huge, it's going to be a huge factor in expanding into the current services, exchanges, wallets that are already active. And you mentioned blockchain.com. We spoke with them. I know they have, even just on Twitter alone, over 1 million people following them. And for cryptocurrency, that's quite a lot. So congratulations on that. And I was looking into the other partnerships and what the team's been working on. And I saw the integration with Polygon network, which is huge. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about how that changes people purchasing domains, how else Polygon Network and Unstoppable Domains can work together to make the product even better.
Well, anyone who's in the crypto space this year will know that there's just been a huge increase in traffic for use for crypto products. And that actually caused the fees for using these networks to go up. So we had fees on some of these blockchains go up 50, 100x. And in some cases, people were paying, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100 in order to add information about themselves to domains, right? And ERC 721 tokens. And it just was, it was untenable. So we spent this whole year, and it ate up literally 10 months of our engineering roadmap to look at alternative solutions for making it much, much cheaper to interact on chain. And we ended up working with Polygon, which is a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. They have a lot of different tools coming out in order to make this easier to interact with. And that dropped our cost down so low, in fact, that we're now covering all gas fees for users. And so, people who are on OpenSea or playing around with NFTs, like, oh man, it's $20 for this transaction, $50 for this transaction. You don't have any of that at Unstoppable. We will pay 100% of fees. The fee cost for us is in the pennies, and we actually want to own that part of the user experience. We think that users don't know how to know how to program or write the software in order to make it cheaper. So we're going to internalize that. If you buy a domain name at Unstoppable, it's a one-time fee. You owe that domain name, and we will pay for your transaction fees on Polygon.
Amazing. That obviously is going to make it easier, especially if the domain is only $20 and the transaction fee is more than $20. A little bit unbalanced there, but it's great to hear that you're paying for that. And you mentioned there that it's a one-time fee. I'm pretty sure, like with normal domain names, you actually have to pay, GoDaddy or whoever, like every year, forever. So it's not like that.
Correct. So our domain names are NFTs, and just like any other NFT you buy on the internet, you buy it and you own it. And ownership is a real big part of crypto ethos. And if you have renewal fees, you're not really being true to that model. And also you're potentially introducing some security problems because if you have renewals, then there's a chance that you could potentially revoke that domain at some point in the future by raising the fee so high. So we thought that it was very important to stay true to the ownership model in the crypto economy. And therefore, when we sell you a domain name, you pay once, you own it. And longer term for our business, if you look at other internet service providers, other naming services, 80% of their revenue is going to be on things like selling you email or websites or what have you. So we have a plan in place for to long term make the business model make sense, and then we're adopting this piece for the business because we think it's core to being a NFT domain company is not charging that renewal fee. So also I've lost several domains from forgetting to renew them, and just as someone who's experienced that as a consumer, I was like, I don't want anyone else to ever have to experience that. We were sitting around when we were building this, and people were like, what's the thing you hate the most about domain names? And they said renewals, because I always forget, or like I hate having to pay $12 a year or whatever. And so just we we own domain names ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we just didn't want to build a system that had renewals baked in.
Totally. And I feel like people don't fully get the gist of, you know, a domain name. They hear like, well, what if I don't need a website, right? Like I work for another company and I don't really need my own website. But from what I understand, you know, if you want that named ID for your wallet, or if you want the digital identity, you know, it's actually multiple things for like the same price as you would pay normally for a website.
Yeah, for sure. And the way that I think about it is traditional domain name system, that, you know, ICANN.com, they are built on an older tech stack, and they simply haven't evolved for 30 plus years. So, you know, point out something to me in the tech industry that hasn't changed in 30 years. There's not very many things, right? Like, so it just makes sense that now we have this new technology. This area is ripe for innovation. When we decided to launch this business, it's actually in my pitch deck. I was actually saying, like, domain name industry has not innovated in 25 years. It's time. And these things can do so much more. And it is theoretically possible to build a much more advanced naming system on top of like .com, but they're using such an old tech stack, it's going to be really hard for them. And whereas if you use this new tech stack for smart contract platforms for domains, all of a sudden it's 10 times easier to build these advanced features like receiving cryptocurrency payments or digital ID. For people like my dad out there, and I'm trying to explain why you would want this name, there's usually two things that make a lot of sense to him. One is, I say, if you think that everyone on the planet is going to use crypto in the next 10 years. Like, if you just believe that as a thesis, then surely everyone on the planet is going to want to have an NFT domain. So it's easy to send and receive money. So like that's pretty easy. And then the other one I tell them is, wouldn't it be nice if when you went to all the websites online, you didn't have a different passcode for all 50 different websites, and instead you had a single name like Matt.crypto, and you could use that to log in to all 50 different sites. And then when you log in, it would show your name as Matt.crypto on Twitter and Matt.crypto on Reddit. So you can just get rid of all those 50 passwords and instead use your NFT domain and then sign in, with your crypto wallet. And so those two use cases I think make the most sense to people. I will just tell them that there's a lot more depth there into how this is going to function and helping you authorize permission to your data. There's also a lot of areas where this can be super helpful for privacy. It's also very helpful for businesses in GDPR compliance in Europe. I think it's going to be helpful for new business models that allow users to make money for sharing their data. I think it's going to make shopping easier online. So I think it has a lot of places that it touch because it is at the base level. A naming system is at the very bottom of these systems, making it easier for people to just basically easier UX across the board. So, but yeah, the two cases I point out is typically the login, because everyone hates having 50 passwords, and then just simple sending payments. And you really don't need to go deeper than that to understand the first cases of domains, and the rest of it's going to come along too. So you'll get that as a bonus.
Definitely. Great bonus. And it seems like there's a lot of people that are continuing to register these decentralized domains and pick up NFTs overall. 2021 has really been the year of the most adoption for retail, and it looks like it's only going to increase. Are you seeing a lot of organic traffic of people buying more domains, or are you also doing marketing and incentivization and specials for people to get more domains that do not have one yet?
We are doing all of the above. And then on the organic part, I'll just point out this month is likely going to be a record month for us, the most domains ever sold or registered. We've already crossed 140,000, I think, registrations this month. And the growth has been steady. The growth has been 300 to 500% year over year the last 3 years. We're projecting the same thing next year. It's actually been closer to 400 to 500%. And if you think about it, the number of people with cryptocurrency is something like 200 million. The number of people with a NFT domain name is something like 200,000. So we have, and then the crypto market is growing 100% year over year. So we have to grow 3 to 5 times faster than that just to try to catch up with all the people who need to have one of these. So when I'm looking next year, I tell my team we're registering 100,000 domains a month. We're doing 140,000 this month, but I expect to be registering at least 10 times that many by the end of next year. So I should be registering 1 million domains a month by next year. And at the beginning of this year, I said I thought we would have over 1 million registrations by the end of the year, and we blew past that. We already have 1.5 million this year. So when I look out next year, I think we're going to have 10 million plus registrations. We'll see. Hopefully we can blow past those numbers. We need to get more people on. As far as specials, we do have Cyber Monday coming up. So we have a BOGO event on Cyber Monday. So please come check us out. Hopefully everyone will be able to hit that. And that's traditionally one of our biggest sales days of the year. So I would definitely say check us out Monday. And then as far as just access, I do want to make a statement here. I think it's important for all 3 billion people on the internet to have a chance to get an NFT domain. So through these partnerships with these wallets, it's going to be part of your onboarding experience. You will be able to get a domain name. It'll be kind of like an email address. You can get Yahoo address or a Gmail. You can get like Ashton259, at gmail.com. So we're going to have that too as part of the wallet onboarding experience, where you'll be able to get, Matthew625, some sort of alphanumeric combination, so that we're not going to prevent anyone from being able to use this technology. However, if you want to have your name like Ashton or Matthew Gould or whatever, .crypto, and you want to have something shorter, then you're going to need to buy it. And that's part of our model. So we can monetize the users who want to have the more premium, the Rolex-like names. A lot of people are trying to buy these 3 and 4 character names so they can flex. And then we can use that to invest in the technology and make sure that we bring along everybody and don't make this a purely exclusive tech.
Definitely. Incredible growth, Matt. Great to hear that you're growing so quickly. And I like that you mentioned the premium domain names there as well. I know many people in the .com days who bought domains early and now they are set for life. So the same thing could be happening. We're so early right now in Unstoppable Domains.
Yeah, it has been an amazing growth story. We're very excited about where this is going. We see a lot of people tuning in now from the traditional industry as well as just the crypto people. We bill ourselves as wanting to be one of those crossover companies. We think it's our job to help educate the market, D-Web, tech, Web3, and how you can, 1 billion plus people. We're not trying to keep this small.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I will leave the links for Unstoppable Domains and the sale for Cyber Monday all in the description box below. All the best with the growth, and let's follow up in the near future.
All right. Thank you, Ashton.